Hello, and welcome to Champion Your Culture, the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of leadership and organizational culture. I'm Ryan McCarty.
And I'm George Rogers. Together, we're here to guide you on a journey of personal and professional growth. Every week, we bring you insights, stories, and strategies to help you and your company thrive in today's dynamic world.
So whether you're leading a team, running a business, or just eager to make a positive impact, you are in the right place. Let's jump right into today's show and champion a culture of purpose and passion. Welcome to Champion Your Culture. What's up, man?
What is going on?
Well, I almost said happy hump day because we did the show so many, like over a year, every single Wednesday.
Yeah.
It does feel weird to come in on a Monday.
It does.
Because normally when you have the podcast, I'm like, okay, I've got today I'm working, Thursday I'm working, Friday I'm kind of working.
Yeah.
But now I'm like Monday I'm working, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, there's no breakup,
there's no
man.
breakup.
Yeah.
Break up in the day, though, get this morning started.
Yeah. Well, if Wednesday's hump day,
after the podcast.
If Wednesday's hump day, what's Monday?
Monday.
Grump day?
Grump day. Because nobody nobody wants to go to work on Monday. I think Monday and Friday should be half a days. And think of this.
Yeah.
All my HR leaders, maybe pitch this to your job.
Yeah.
CEOs, make this happen. What if instead of Mondays, you come in the morning, you came in right at noon?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so everybody has to have their lunch.
The morning to kick the week off.
Noon to 5, noon to 6. It's a short day.
Yeah,
but typically on Mondays anyway. What happens the most on Mondays? You get to work. You find your person that you like the most. You get some things done.
I don't do that. I find the coffee machine.
Yeah. Well, we have plenty of them. One thing about this place is that every block, I call it block, but every corner of this building in the middle, there's a coffee. Spot, man. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's like I don't ever drink coffee that much.
If you're trying to kick the addiction of caffeine, you do not want to work here because you smell it, you're reminded of it and it's free and it's good. Yeah, coffee is a thing, man.
Coffee is a thing.
Yeah,
but there's other. I mean, we got tea, we got other things, hot cocoa, and there's other options. But if you're a coffee snob, there's a drawer full of different types of coffee. It's one of those things. I think I just had somebody behind me as I was getting some coffee right before we went live here, and I'm looking at this drawer of coffee, and this person's come in, reach in and get. I'm like, how do you know what you really want? Like, I gotta ask myself, see what you see, what wants you. It's kind of like this cheer. When I go furniture shopping, it's like I want something that wants me. Like it's like. That one wants me right there. Today was French vanilla.
Once you sit in the chair, you know whether it wants you or not.
Yeah, it's how does it hold me?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. This one just makes me feel like it tolerates me.
Yeah,
I don't know if it really wants me. It's not
like a close friend.
It's not. It's not like that smushy, gushy,
culture good kind of chair.
Good, culture good,
couchy good,
couchy good,
couch of good.
Softness. I want the couch to know that I'm here. And it's like I want you.
That's awesome, man. Did you have a good weekend?
I did. It was kind of a early weekend. Work in if you would. Left out a little bit Thursday. Went to travel down to Nashville.
Yeah.
Used to live there for several years. And I had a friend, shout out to my buddy, Aaron Emer. I won't say he's from London because he's not from London.
Yeah.
He's from the UK, but I always introduce him as, hey, my friend from London.
Got that British accent.
But yeah.
So he sounds a lot smarter than everybody else.
Yeah, he's a snob, man. There's so many people out there that knows that he's just a rude prick. No, he's a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy, but he comes here for 2 or 3 weeks every year. He tries to, with COVID and all this stuff, it's been a while. So this is his first trip, but he comes here every couple of years, and every year for a couple of weeks for Pacer. He's a huch Pacer fan.
Nice.
He has a whole sleeve of just Reggie Miller, Jermaine O'Neal.
It's a good year to come.
After a couple of bourbons, you might see Mel Gibson, but it's not really Mel Gibson.
The more he drinks, the higher his shirt goes.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. That's nice.
So shout out to Aaron. He was here. We went down to Nashville.
That's cool.
Showed him Broadway, some good food spots, some good dance, some music.
Nice.
And then went over to Atlanta for the Hawks Pacer. We traveled down
for
the Pacers game.
Yeah.
Do a road trip down there. So
I would have watched it, but I live downtown Indy, so they black it all out. So it's like I can't watch any Pacers. Yeah. I hate that, man.
Gotta get that app.
And then what do you think about the football going to
Peacock.
onto Peacock. This
it's a
what are your
business
thoughts
deal.
on that? I had Peacock, so I didn't care, but I know a lot of people.
I mean, it's streaming, right? So they're just trying to. It's this cable versus the new streaming era. It's kind of like Blockbusters versus Netflix. You either adapt or you get left behind if you really want something. And so there's a lot of money. And at the end of the day, with all these sports, NFL, college, NBA, hockey, whatever it is, it's a business deal.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They're doing what's best for business.
Yeah.
And,
Godot's going to get that money, homie.
It's to get a new, it's cool. I get it. I get why.
Yeah.
I'm saying I get why they do it. So but that's what I did. I went down to Atlanta, then I went from Atlanta to Louisville, then from Louisville to Cincinnati.
Jeez.
The family, had family out in Ohio. We went over to Mason, Ohio, Cincinnati-ish.
Yeah.
And went to the Great Wolf Lodge. I spent the last couple of days there watching, the kids.
I spoke at a Great Wolf Lodge.
They're fun, dude. There's so much.
Oh, you were there when I spoke at a Great Wolf Lodge, right? That
busy.
was when we were over in
Arizona. Yeah.
That was a Great Wolf Lodge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so very busy, relaxing, got some little water in me. But I was able to just kind of
up your nose.
Nose, eyes, man. I mean, you think about all the people on that water.
Oh, man.
That chlorine is like on 99.
Thank God for the chlorine.
I think it was more chlorine than it was water.
Thank
I was
God
afraid I was
for
going to
the
come
chlorine,
out looking like Michael Jackson with my
I'm telling you, dude. Thank God for the chlorine, though, yo.
Yeah, I feel good.
All those kids peeing and pooping
clean.
In the water all the time.
My nails are grown. They're clean too. I need to get a mani-pedi.
That's awesome.
Shout out to the real men out there to take care of their feet and their hands.
Yeah, I need to do a little better with that.
Do a little bit of.
I take care of mine, but I've been doing a lot of art at home and, changing out spark plugs in my car. I don't know. This last season, I've just had my hands busy.
That's good for you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it for short seasons, Yeah. I always like to shake people's hand and say, you know what that feels like? And they're like, what? A man that doesn't work hard. Soft hands.
Yeah.
I used to have calluses. And, back in the day, we, when we first got our house, after we were renting, Qatar and I, when the girls were younger, and we bought a house, the house was like a old Victorian style, but it needed everything from the foundation all the way up to the top. So I learned how to do a lot of that stuff, man. Just get my hands involved in fixing things, because when you don't have money, you figure it out.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. You adapt. You adapt.
Yeah.
The softest hands I ever shook was Tony Dungy's. I got to meet Tony Dungy at a conference.
Yeah.
And it was when his book was released.
Which one, for kids?
No.
Okay.
It was his first book.
Okay.
And as he was coming in, I noticed that he was, putting he had somebody with him. They square a little something, he rubbing his hands together.
Nice, yeah.
And
especially during the winter.
Walked through, me and my friend JJ, we walked through, and as I shook his hand, I forgot my whole purpose of meeting him.
Yeah.
I was just really
so soft.
I was like, pause, but I was like, I want hands that are soft like that.
I know.
Like, I want people to shake my hand and be like, this dude got good hands.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, anybody that knows me, I always sarcastically used to tell people, like, let me build it. Dexter Emery. I can build that.
Right.
And the reality is, man, is that although I can use the hammer nails drills, like when it comes to hanging stuff, I'm a little OCD, so I do some of that stuff. But oil changes, Pops taught me how to do that, but I'm like, man, I want my hands all nasty.
Well, we were just laughing about this sign, bring your soul to work, how it just feels just a little bit off. I don't know.
It's the ground. It's slim.
it's definitely the ground and the wall.
Every leveler we put on there says it's even. It's a mind trick.
You know what? It's perfect.
It's
perfect-ish.
Yeah, it's perfect-ish. There you go.
Yeah. It's almost there. It's like just there. That's what we're talking about. Last week, obviously, on the podcast, and this week again, perfect-ish. Because there's no such thing as a perfect culture, and apparently there's no such thing as a perfect hanging sign. Because
it depends on how you look at it. When I look like this, it looks like it's coming my way. When I sit up here, it looks like it's going your way.
It's all so about it's all perspective,
perspective and perception.
Yeah,
your perception.
Your perspective determines your perception.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Anyway,
Martin Luther King Day as well. Shout out.
Absolutely.
To all those who are celebrating Martin
and
Luther
this
King.
Is like the month of National Mentoring Month, which I think is really powerful, because when we think about Martin Luther King and his legacy, a lot of it was the investment that he made and the entire movement made into the next generation.
Yeah.
In terms of mentoring and raising up and the fight for racial equality and for civil rights, and I think it's definitely a good time to talk about that kind of thing. There's a lot DEI is catching a lot of heat, man. Normally it's from people that don't want to be held accountable to that heat.
Mm-hmm.
You notice who doesn't like DEI right now, right? People that don't want to be held accountable to DEI.
Yeah.
Now, I think there is some aspects of it, but I mean the fight for that equality and for racial justice and all of that continues to this day, right? I think the dream is still a dream. I think there's aspects obviously that we've progressed since his time, but also like I think there still needs to be those dreamers.
Yeah.
And when you're a dreamer, not everybody agrees with your dream because they don't have the same dream you do.
Right.
That's what's powerful about a dream.
Yeah.
It's that, if you're a dreamer, you're known as a dreamer because what you have in mind as a vision is not yet in reality. That's why we call it a dream.
Yeah.
So I think that is still the case, right? And so I think it's really important to honor, but also not just put a quote up on LinkedIn and that's my check the box.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year. You got to do that work.
We can totally change the whole topic of today because this is, it's a conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because, DEI was a thing for about 1.5 years, 2 years strong.
Yeah.
In, corporate America. And those who are no longer have it as a strategy,
right?
A focal point, right? DEI is one of those, there's certain things that are heart issues. Heart things, right? It's
heart.
Heart. Like it's got to be in your blood. It's part of your DNA.
Yeah.
It's not something that you're putting together.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of companies kind of push that aside, cut off, right?
Yeah.
We've heard of the number of people that are when jobs were getting cut, those are some of the top ones. Mm-hmm. Right. And we'll just tuck it underneath somebody else's role.
Yeah.
If they are able to accomplish A, B, and C, because at the end of the day, it becomes a business focus, right?
Right.
Everybody's now business focused because of the scare or the uncertainty of what the economy was going to do. But when it comes to certain things, it's a hard issue. It's culture is a hard issue.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to have good culture?
Right. Yeah. And I was thinking about that with having a perfect-ish culture, because it kind of goes along with it too. How do you get there? You have to have a caring leader.
Right.
And you have to have an actionable plan.
Yep.
And if you don't have a caring leader, it doesn't matter if you have a plan or not. And I think a lot of plans were put into place in 2020 specifically, and for the 2 years after that, leading into 2023, a lot of plans, actionable plans. But the question is, do we have the caring leaders? Because the caring leaders will be the ones who carry that, right? Yeah. They're the carrying leaders. They're the ones that carry that forward. They own it. If you don't have caring leadership, caring owners, caring CEOs, people that really get behind this effort, and it's more than an effort, it's a culture, right? It's like, when we talk about racial equality and we talk about justice across the board, that's a cultural issue. That's something that, society is not going to be perfect, but it can be perfect-ish.
Yeah.
And the way that we become perfect-ish, we talked about last week, is we become effective, more effective by improving.
Right.
Like, how are we improving? And it seems to me as though we're doing less improving and we're going backwards. We're taking steps back.
We're going back to the comfort zone of what we know.
And and there's no such, I used to say this all the time, there's no such thing as comfortable growth.
Yeah.
Can't find it. No such thing. When you're growing, it's uncomfortable. That's just what it is. It's, the talking about getting out of your comfort zone. But, we always talk about, if you want to build trust, you have to be a leader who's accountable to something or someone, to an ideal that is beyond you, bigger than you, that has more of an impact than just on you.
Right.
And I think, the greatest leaders that we've met are those that are willing to take on these dreams, these ideas, this vision for a better future.
Right.
And be accountable to that and say, hold me accountable. Right. Not just that self-accountability, but am I willing as a leader to be held accountable?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing. Cause it seems like those that are leaders, have a position, have a title, are better at trying to keep their people accountable and wondering why there's not a culture of accountability. And that's because the leader themselves, they're not embodying accountability.
Yeah.
You can't, talk something you're not willing to walk something. Yeah. It's like you have to
practice what you preach.
You have to.
You keep on telling me this. Had to bring the song.
Keep singing, practice, man. I didn't track with it just yet.
You just got to practice what you preach.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that's important. You want to you before we get into that, because I want to do a recap and then get into these last three. But rumor is that we have a craziest
shit in HR. Yeah, let's pop into that. Laugh a little bit. Is that cool? I got to find it on my phone here real quick. So do you want to hit the
So yeah, we'll do the craziest in HR. And have people go there for that intro. You ready?
Yep, go for it.
Ooh, there we go.
All right, so I found this. Tell me what would happen. So you're in the bathroom. You're about to use the restroom. I don't know why it always comes back to this. It is the craziest shit in HR, right?
Yeah, literally.
So this employee sent a picture of a letter that was posted on the bathroom wall.
Okay,
it says
it's a letter.
Yeah, I mean it's
a picture.
It's
of
just a couple sentences
in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Well, you said in the bathroom, then picture.
Yeah.
And then I was nervous about what the picture was.
No, it's just a letter. Yeah.
Okay.
It says, "Please be seated."
Okay.
The lighting timer has been optimized according to the Cleveland Clinic standard time for a bowel movement. All right. When the lights go out, you have exceeded the average time needed. BMs beyond the lighting timer should be done on personal time, not company time. Thank you.
So they timing your poop.
Yes. I'm thinking, okay, I get it for a second, because there must be employees that are just sitting in there looking at TikTok videos for an hour.
Yeah.
I get that.
It happens though.
But when you optimize the lighting, I mean, what would have you ever done that to somebody?
So they got a QR code.
I mean, back in the day, you remember when it wasn't motion.
Yeah.
And anytime you leave the bathroom, you turn the lights on everybody.
Yeah.
Even if you knew that, if you had a friend in there taking a dump, you just turn it off. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But it ain't funny when you're in there by yourself and it's dark and all of a sudden the lights go out and you can't even find where the toilet paper is.
So they're being efficient with their electricity, saving money, while also urging you to stop urging yourself to let loose what is holding you.
Yeah. Zero flexibility, zero autonomy. Yeah. I mean, that's the idea, right? Is like this concept. So the question is, what is the appropriate time? You know, if you have an employee in there for 25 minutes, at some point you're like, this ain't happening.
Yeah. There's some people I know that can go in 5 to 7 minutes. I don't know I wish they would have told us what the actual
I looked it up.
Limit.
I looked it up.
They get 10 minutes.
It says 10 to 15 at most. 15 minutes is the most. I think I mean,
that should be good.
And you do have people that have physical challenges and everything else, right. And that's a whole separate conversation. We're not talking about that. Or if somebody has issues, food poisoning or something,
bad chicken.
Yeah, just go home go home on your personal time anyway. But so 10 to 15 minutes.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I would hate to be that HR leader that enforces that rule.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to deal with people's shit literally every day,
all day long,
all week long.
Well, only 10 minutes of it.
Well, I mean, if they go over, do you deduct that? Like, how do you get away with deducting?
Oh, there'll be shit to pay.
Yeah. Like literally, do they have to work long? Like, do they extend their hours? Do they cut their pay? Do they cut out? I mean, you can't take somebody's hours if they're working.
No, I think it's just ridiculous.
I mean, if they work 8, technically in most states, you get like 2 10s where you don't have to clock out. And so if anything, you can say, listen.
Wasn't there like on the Amazon floor for a while, people were talking about how people were using the bathroom in buckets and stuff because they didn't have time to go. I don't know if that was all true or not.
In the States here?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Like they weren't given bathroom breaks, man.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, hey, when nature calls, like you don't want me to go in the bathroom.
Yeah.
This is going to get really crazy, yo.
That is crazy. Well, that is a sponsor segment, Culture of Good.
Yeah. Crazy shit in HR.
All right, so let's get into, as we get back into this conversation, because I really want to get through some of these things. We got a special video we want to share as well.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about, we defined it, what that perfect-ish culture is, and then we talked about the myth of perfection, right, in company culture. That everybody is striving for this perfection. I always said it this way, is that I was never in pursuit of perfection. I was in pursuit of excellence, because I knew that perfection was not something that was attainable. And I want to be realistic.
So define excellence.
Well, excellence is my standard, right? So it goes back to, what does excellence look like for us as a team?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So you define that on a team level?
As a team level.
Yeah.
Right.
Because sometimes when excellence is defined just by the leader, then it turns into perfection.
No, I think, that's because they're all striving for something.
Because that's their standard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you have a voice in a culture of communication
where
we say, all right, individually, your excellence looks different than my excellence.
Right.
Right. For my individual goals, my pursuit of excellence may be something different. Now, your expectations for mine may be different, but that's where failures and disappointment goes into, because I'm living on your expectations versus my expectations for myself.
Yeah.
Right. And so to get away from feeling like I disappointed Ryan, I'm not trying to please Ryan,
right,
or fulfill his expectations. I am striving for my individual plan to succeed based on the level of excellence that I strive for.
Well, and that's what any leader would ever want, right? Like you don't want someone who's just living up to a standard simply because they're forced to.
Yeah.
You want people that, like, when you have a standard in expectations, you don't have to worry about that, because they're self-led and they're self-motivated. I think some people are a little more self-motivated than others. And I think it is good for leaders to express their expectations. But to your point, if you have high expectations for yourself, there'll be less conversations that I'll have as your leader, whoever that is, a leader who has a team of what we would consider rock stars, are not perfect. Again, they're perfect-ish, but where they do strive is in that sense of excellence. It's in that sense of, like, how do I bring my best?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How do I live up to my values? How do I live up to my potential in this workplace? And then as a leader, then I can curate those experiences where they can step up.
Yeah.
That's that ability part, right? Like, do I need to get out of the way? Do I need to get in the way? Do I need to say, how can I jump in this with you? Or how can I leave you with autonomy and the flexibility to make choices on your own? Like that's the kind of idea that we're talking about, is not simply saying as a leader, here's what my expectations of you are. But as a team, we're saying, here's what our expectations are together.
Right.
Do we have team expectations? Yeah, I think that's a powerful idea, man.
And so that myth of perfection then goes. And then the third one was communication. We talked about the keys of effective culture. Number 4 today, as we kick off on this discussion, is talking a little bit about what we kind of a recap. This is really a recap of what we've kind of gone through a lot of, but that flexibility and autonomy and what that truly means in regards to not just flexible work hours, but options. What does that look like? Because what Ryan's work life may look like is a little bit different maybe from mine's, right? So that flexibility within understanding, obviously, if you're a doctor, you got to go into work to do what you got to do, right?
There's I mean, a pilot can't be flexible,
right? Not yet, until we get a self-driven flight, right? But it comes down to really empowering employees, to make those decisions, the right decisions, right? So when I have a leader that trusts me, and really has impacted me, and developed me to understand the business practices and the strategies, my responsibilities, and the resources that I have. We have open communication. So when I'm lacking resources, I have the openness that I can give open, feed forward, as we talked about last week, to say, hey, this is what I need more of in order to fulfill my job, in order to be able to maximize the flexibility that the work is, right? Now, understanding as well, and this is why a lot of people say we can't do flexibility, because we have some employees that do try to, take advantage of those, not necessarily fulfill their jobs and their responsibility and their duties. Maybe they get a lot of work done in the beginning, take some breaks, right? And the availability is not always there. Why can't I get a hold of you? So there's that struggle within that flexibility But the importance of that when we talk about a perfect is
and
how it impacts the flexibility is a big piece of that.
Yeah. They did a recent Harvard Business Review did a study, and it showed that 96% of employees need more flexibility in their work, but only 47% actually have access to that flexibility. So there's a major gap between the need of more flexibility or the perceived need, right? Because I don't know, who is being asked in that study but what it does indicate, whether they need it or not, they want it. People want the flexibility. What we want as leaders is we want effective employees. And so the question is, when we're beginning to foster that kind of culture, a culture of flexibility and autonomy, is that flexibility helping to create a more effective team, more effective individuals, and is that helping us improve? Because if we're looking toward a perfect-ish culture, not a perfect one, we're looking for effectiveness and improvement. And so if adding flexibility into the mix, right, is that like adding sugar to the cookies, man? Like, is it making it better?
Right.
Like, nobody wants sugar cookies and you forgot to put sugar in it. So it's like, what are you saying about the culture that's good? And will flexibility, is it the sugar that makes that experience even better? It's sweeter. And that's kind of the idea, is how is this helping us be more effective and improving? Those are the kind of questions we need to ask when we're talking about creating a culture of flexibility, or maybe providing more flexible work experiences and modes of working, right? Like, does this make us better? Does this make us more effective? How can it make us more effective? You got to ask those questions, man, because if not, we're just simply like throwing spaghetti against a wall, seeing what's going to stick. People get tired of that, man, because it feels like a flavor of the month. 1 month you're talking about, we're going to go flexible. And then, do you see where Zoom called? It's been a little while ago. Last year, they called all their employees back into work.
Right.
Zoom did.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I can get all my work done on Zoom, and Zoom themselves are calling everybody back into work. I'm like, this is crazy. If anybody should have all flexible work employees, it should be Zoom. I just thought that was hilarious. Now, to your point, not everybody can just be away from work or whatever it is. There's hybrid models, that kind of thing. And it's not just about timing, but also flexibility in terms of having the autonomy to make choices.
Mm-hmm.
When we have a more flexible culture, it always leads to more autonomy and people making business decisions, because they may not have someone right there all the time to ask, what should I do in this case? And isn't that what we want? We want to know that we can trust our team members and we can trust our leaders. But if, we're constantly looking over people's shoulders all the time, are we hiring the right people? I suppose is the question, because if we're hiring the right people, we should be able to build a more flexible experience, whether that's in timing, investment while they're at work, how much time they spend on the toilet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it all feeds into it, but that autonomy is powerful, because what we're doing is, and I think this is going to be the theme that will go through our whole conversation today, is we're empowering people to lead. It's in that empowerment that we build a leadership culture. It's like, we don't want just a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I could just hire the right leader, they'll lead the team. Now, we want a culture of leadership. We want everybody leading together. And in order to do so, we have to mentor them. We have to empower them to be able to lead. We have to equip them with what they need, right? Because they could want it all day long, but if they don't, again, they could be a caring person, a caring leader, but if they don't have a plan of action, then it's a moot point. You have to have a leader and a plan. Just how it works.
Yeah, and the plan is important as well.
The strategy for it.
The strategy behind it. And then, as we always talk about, using that ACAR step within that process to make sure that you are, one, not just jumping to a decision just to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's flexible, work, or whether it's, hey, we're all coming back to the office, no matter what the strategy or the plan is or the decision that you're making, you got to be able to say, hey, this is the place, purpose, right? This is why we're doing what we're doing. This is the outcomes that we're striving for. This is what we really expect. how does this involve, right? Then open dialogue and communication so other people can say on the team, how does this impact their work and responsibility? Get feedback, right? A lot of companies just thrusting themselves into a decision and just running into it. It's where a lot of those things fall apart.
Where they're just diving
productivity,
head first and
productivity drops, culture. How do we drive culture, and how do we have a good company culture when we're not together?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all those thoughts that kind of run in your head. And we go back to what we always say, it'll work if you work it. You just got to put a plan and strategy behind what your purpose is behind it.
Yeah.
How does it impact others? How does it influence others as well? How does it influence you to want to be with our company? How does it impact retention? How does it influence people to want to come to our company? Right. There's always
think about all those angles, right?
To the decision that you're making. So there's always going to be the impact of those you have, the influence of those you won't, and really building that around it to make sure that it fits, where you want to go.
And I also want to say, not everybody, I mean, that's a pretty large stat, 96% need more flexibility, but not everybody loves to work at home all the time. And I think that needs to be considered too.
Yeah.
Because I think during the pandemic, it was obvious, like, there was a lot of time spent pausing from your everyday kind of work, and people were recognizing, some people recognize, oh, I actually get a lot of work done when I'm at home. Other people were realizing my spouse can't wait for me to get out of here and go to work. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to go to a coffee shop, and then you're buying coffee every day for $8, like,
like you were talking about my house.
Well, kind of. She did say that, didn't she? After a few days, it's like, George, can you go to work, or Ryan again? Yeah. I mean, that's a thing too, right? Because if you have kids at home and it's some work just doesn't, and some personalities, whatever it is, how do we best collaborate? Again, can we be effective in that? I think it's all in the implementation, and how we implement is through integration. So we're integrating flexibility. We're not simply, like you were saying, diving headfirst and saying, we're going to be totally flexible and, it's a free for all. Like, certainly that's not the way to go, but how you implement flexibility is through that idea of how do you integrate it? Right. How does this fit into the recipe?
Yeah.
It's is it adding the sugar now? Or, I made cookies the other day, and, I didn't have all the ingredients. They still turned out okay, but they weren't okay-ish. They weren't perfect-ish at all. They were okay-ish. I ate them.
Yeah.
Believe me. But had I had all the right ingredients. And so that's the idea, is how do you integrate? How do you take that and make it a part of the overall, rather than saying, okay, this is a new program we're going to try?
Yeah.
And I do agree. Like, there are times that we can try things out and say, hey, we're going to give this a shot. But one of the last things you want to do is give people flexibility and then pull it away from them.
Right.
We've seen that too, man. Yeah. That doesn't go over well at all.
Does not at all.
Yeah, you better off not even going that route to begin with, man.
Right.
It's like, it's better just to not ever give it than give it and take it away. Yeah.
Very true. So flexibility and autonomy. Number 5 is continuous learning and development.
Yeah.
This is something that's really near and dear to our heart, where we are a candle. Culture and leadership is something that we believe that really drives the business and helps impact a lot of levels, all levels, in a sense, where it influences leadership. Leadership then influences the culture and the employees. The employees then influence the business, right? It becomes this cycle of good that continues to happen. I want to show this video. We have a special video for those who are watching us. One of the things that we are really passionate about doing here, not just with our podcast, but through Culture Guru, who powers our podcast and is backing behind us. We get to do workshops and coaching. And keynotes. And one of our good friends, Mike Wiley, and his company was a part of one of our cohorts last year, and has really been growing.
Well, I talked to him about this. I was like, the first time you came in for our workshop, you were like a deer caught in headlights, man. And I tell you, over this past year, and we'll watch a video, they've really developed a a perfect-ish culture. You know, it's not perfect. It still has room to grow and improve and become more effective, but they're working on it. And that's the idea of development. Development speaks of itself as a process, right? You're not people don't ever get developed. You know what I mean? We're not like a picture that you throw in a dark room and you're developed. You know, like it's developing.
Or Polaroid where you just shake.
Yeah, shake it like a Polaroid picture. All right, here's the video.
What inspired myself and the organization to go down the journey of the culture of good was some of our customers, competitors, and we saw how they were utilizing culture and gaining their employees, and it made us want to figure out what it was all about, what made it tick, and trying to grow in the metal fabrication business and differentiate ourselves from everybody else that does the exact same thing, and how can we make it different from everybody else and have people want to work here. Culture Champion certification has inspired a lot of what we do, and what I've done, from the different ideas and the way I look at the business as a whole, and the way that I look at all the different projects and things that I've gotten myself into over the last year, and how to approach them, and also how to judge our success. So some of the things that we've done would be would be just our goods that we have done and the hours that we have given back to the community. We went from pretty much 0 to 400 or 500 hours the first year to this year almost 1,000 already, and as well as just the relationships with businesses in Marion, the local community. Doing what I'm doing now and with the culture, and seeing even the small changes from the hugs or the fist bumps I get from the guys, and just hearing the stories of giving back to the community, I wouldn't want to do anything else, and it's helped me find a purpose in life and feel that I have a purpose to continue and to share this this feeling, as well as what we're trying to do as an organization, as a team at Wiley Metal, to better the world, not only with the products we build, but also the message we try to send out by our actions every day.
Oh, well, I guess I have to remove the video. It's pretty good stuff though, isn't it?
Yeah. To see where Mike started, as you mentioned right before, even in the cohort, like his body language is, the shyness in a sense, and to see the influence be on site with him, and see not just the way he speaks to his team, but the way the team receives him, acknowledges him,
how they speak to him.
They speak to him.
That's
right.
Powerful.
You can tell a lot, and we get this feeling a lot as we walk through organizations, and you walk through and we see as people are introducing us, we're doing a tour and somebody introduces us, and the tour is all about them introducing us versus somebody saying, hey, introducing themselves, or acknowledging that person who's doing that tour. You kind of get a difference of, hey, I can tell what kind of leader you are. Just walk me through your building.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's all you, Mike, walk us through.
Yeah, walk us through the building, and let's see how the people respond.
Yeah. This is a really good thing. We're actually back up in Marion, Indiana. This is Wiley Metal tomorrow for a 2-hour workshop, which if you're interested in bringing George and I in, any of our team can come and do a 2-hour workshop just on what is culture, even, starting there. What is a culture of good? What's a culture of good team? He's had to develop to the point that we're talking about being a perfect-ish culture. And what does that mean? How do we get there? It's about development. When I talk to Mike, he's always frustrated about, man, I feel like we should be further along.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, take a step back and think about how far you've come.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that we do that, and we reflect from time to time as leaders, because we're all visionaries and we want things to be better. We want them to be bigger. We want them to be more successful in a sense. If you have 500 hours volunteered, you want 1,000. If you have 1,000, you want 1,500. You know what I mean? You're always striving, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's also good to say, let's celebrate how far we've come. Let's recognize, and we'll get to that here in a moment. But it starts with that development and that willingness to invest.
Yeah.
We talk about the 4 T's, what we're investing as leaders and what organizations need to invest into the people and to team members is time, talent, treasure, and testimony.
Yeah.
Right? Time, talent, treasure, testimony, the 4 T's. And we teach that all the time in our workshops. We'll be teaching it tomorrow because Mike's getting his culture team together.
Yeah.
He's had a culture team for a year and they did wonderful, but he said, we're ready to step up. And so they've got new people on the team that we're going to be going in and talking to about all these concepts. But one are those 4 T's. How are we investing in people? You've said it before, like what happens if we invest and they leave? The question is, what happens if we don't invest and they stay?
Right.
That's the question, because, and this is beyond just a simple like training video. We're talking more than just LinkedIn Learning, and there's nothing wrong with LinkedIn Learning. And we have training videos as well, and we'll be putting those out, make it easier access for people to learn these concepts. You don't necessarily have to bring us into your business, although that's really where our sweet spot is. We want to be able to see beyond just a one-off training.
Right.
We want people to know I'm being developed. And back to studies, we're finding out that more and more that 94% of employees stated that if they were invested in their learning and development, both personally and professionally, they'd stick around in their work longer.
Right.
I mean, it's a retention issue.
Yeah.
If you want to retain people, development's a part of that. It's not everything. So what we talked about last week, like development's part of the list.
Right.
It's not number one. Was number one 3 or 4 years ago, still up there though.
Yeah.
When we talk about what are people searching for and looking for, many times they're looking for a culture in which they can grow.
Yeah. They want to be developed, right? Especially in a time where pay, right? It's that payment versus development. If you're not going to pay me, then I must have a growth plan.
Yeah.
Right.
To where I can make more money.
Or I can grow here and go to where somebody
and
else
make more money somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that growth is important, and it's important for companies, organizations to understand that, but also how are you developing and what ways are you developing? Not just by your standards or what's best for business, but I am a true believer, Ryan. This is just me personally, and this is something that we did all the way back in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 with our retail stores, is that I was under the belief that if I can make our team better, if our employees, as people say, we call them team members, but if we can make our team members better, it'd become a better business, right? And so how do we make them better? How do we help them become better? One, if we can help them become better physically and mentally, right?
Yeah.
Emotionally, how we can help them and support them in that area. If they can become better people in that area, it was important to us. If we can help them become better financially, how do we do that? Right? We're all growing. We're all young in that place. But if we can bring somebody in, right, that can help us, teach us how to, hey, this is a good way to get out of debt, or this is a good way to save money, right? So you're not living check to check. We were having people that on our team that was getting paid on Friday, and by Monday, they can barely get to work.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Right. So managing your money and teaching the rule that others may, but I may not. If you want a certain lifestyle, there's certain things you may not be able to have right now. Right. Others may, but I may not. And that applied to every step and aspect of your life. And so we just had that development. So I encourage people not just doing things that help the business, but hey, maybe punch in there 1 or 2 soft skills and apply it to both personal and business. All right, this is how we're going to apply this thing personally. This is how you can take this back for you. Maybe this impacts you, but it also maybe impact your family, right? Well, and then the outcome of, hey, a better George, and a better family man, George, is a better businessman, George.
Well, I always say, like, there's no personal professional, it's personal.
Yeah.
your professional life is personal.
Yeah.
To you.
Yeah. If you don't have it,
you know, well,
right.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And if you're not growing, your professional life's not.
Yeah.
When we're coaching executives, the big thing that I'm always asking them before I ask them what they want to see more of in their team and their business is, what do you want to see more of in yourself?
Yeah.
That's the first part of the 3-part question. What do you want to see more in yourself, your team, and your business? It starts with self, that self-leadership, right? And I love the idea of talking about flexibility and autonomy leading into this concept of development, because we also want to create environments where people are learning on their own, that they're afforded the opportunity to take courses or to learn through these workshops or whatever it is that we've provided, where people have the autonomy to want, because then we can see who really wants to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And some of it needs to be obligation. Like, we all need to grow in this area. We're all going to do this and learn this together.
Yeah.
But in other ways, I know I just talked to one of the team members here at TCC and the Round Room family, and they were talking about how excited they were because they were able to take like 2 or 3 courses last year where they grew personally.
Yeah.
And it was afforded to them because they worked here.
Mm-hmm.
And that idea mattered to them. So you can find learners. We know that leaders are learners.
Yeah.
And if you're learning and you're always in that constant growth, like you always have something to learn. LeBron James still shoots around before the game.
Mm-hmm.
He still has a coach around him to say, you might want to think about this or do that. Not as much as he used to.
Yeah.
He's coaching, he's mentoring younger people, but he's still coached.
Yeah.
We always have room to grow. We always have room to develop. And I think as leaders, we have to recognize that ourselves, and also know that our team members that's what they're looking for.
Right.
That's one of the major things I would say that they're looking for. So that's a big one. I like this flow, and this is the end of our conversation here as we're moving into it. But we start with this idea of flexibility and autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
And because we've created an environment where that's a part of it, more people are given and afforded the opportunity to grow and develop.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they use their autonomy and flexibility to do so. Wonderful opportunities. If you're at home and your work doesn't take as long because you're not having to drive all the way to work or whatever it is, you're not distracted at work, you get work done sooner. Why not throw in some of that development, give team members an opportunity to use that time to grow and develop. Right. So it creates that opportunity. And as they're growing, make sure you celebrate that.
Yeah.
We used to say a phrase, people go where they're celebrated, not tolerated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Very true. Very true.
If I'm tolerating, I don't want to be tolerated, man. I want to be recognized.
Yeah.
And that could mean different things for different people. I love public recognition.
Yeah.
You want to speak to my soul, man, get me in front of people and say how great I did at something.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah.
But other people would shy away from that. You know what I'm saying? So recognizing that in people and saying, all right, do I know each one of my team members? Do I know what makes them tick, and how recognition can really ramp them up and get them going? You know what I'm saying? Like motivation. How do we motivate people? Well, it's more than just hiring yourself or I to come in and do a keynote.
Yeah.
We have to have a culture of motivation, a culture of appreciation and recognition.
Right.
Am I being recognized? Am I being seen? If I'm putting this hard work in, what happens because of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The importance of, and as you said, creating that culture of appreciation. And we see this a lot. I know a lot of good companies, and there's a lot of good HR software and tech companies, HR tech companies that do recognition and rewards, that provide a great service and a great platform for you to be able to implement very easily within your organization.
Yeah.
But creating that culture of it. And it's not just another, hey, a feel good moment. We got this, software and this thing's going to make us feel better.
Right.
Your employees, again, has to embody. You have to first embody this, right? We talk about that all the time. It must be who we are. and
before
not
people
simply
embrace it,
not simply what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be who we are and not simply what we do.
Right.
What we do should be the outcome
of who we are.
Or who we are.
Yeah.
Right. It's that true fundamental factor of culture.
Yeah.
I feel this way.
Yeah.
I believe this way.
Yeah.
So I act this way.
Yeah,
my behavior is this. And so being able to have that culture of appreciation is so important, especially as we talk about this perfect-ish culture.
Yeah.
This is a really good one to end on, because as people are leaving, for instance, we've had a lot of people leave the company. We know people who leave the company.
Yeah.
I love those stories, and we run into several people that say, "Man, I used to work for TCC." I've met several people that know who Ryan McCarty is or Scott Moorhead because they used to work here. That says, "Man, I know all about them. This is what it meant to me. I miss it. I'm working for this company, and I've grown and developed underneath this culture of good at TCC. And this is what I'm getting to do now. I'm trying to bring this here."
Yeah,
it's that appreciated. They're so appreciative of what they had, even though they're not here anymore, that it's still a conversation. You know, one of the greatest, Ryan, one of the greatest marketing tools is not what you're producing in the house. It's what your employees are being able to produce out of the house.
It's your ex-employees.
When they walk away and they can say, "Man, that's a great place," or, "Hey, I recommend, if you're in this area, I don't live here anymore, but man, you should go work for this company."
What do all your exes say?
Yeah. And that's a good podcast coming up soon. All my exes.
They all live in Texas. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's because you do meet people that maybe the relationship didn't work out, but they still are highly talked about by their exes. You know what I'm saying? And that just shows a level of character.
Yeah.
Because there's not gonna be a perfect job.
No.
There's not gonna be a perfect employer. There's no perfect employees.
There's no perfect leader.
No, there's no perfect anything.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is how are we effective?
Right.
And can we be more of that? Which means how are we improving?
Right.
And as long as I'm improving, that's perfect-ish. Yeah. You know, and I think that affords us also the opportunity to not be so critical of people.
Right.
You know, to be able to say, "Man, they hit the mark on all these things.
Yeah.
They're perfect-ish."
Yeah.
A lot of times we say, "Man, they missed the mark on those things." We focus on what someone does that's way less than perfect or way less than okay-ish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As if we have to hit the mark all the time. And there's that level of perfection that it's just not real.
Right. And I think that comes from, Ryan, I think it's, having that perspective is so important, because our understanding that perspective is, if I can talk about what we accomplished.
Yeah.
And why that accomplishment as a leader behind the scenes, I'm thinking, man, they really hit the mark here. We missed the mark over here. Let's talk about why this is here and this is here. We can kind of strategize behind the scenes, but what I will want to do is, with that employee, I'm focusing on, hey, you really hit the mark here.
Yeah.
What can I do to help you keep going in this area?
Right.
Because this stuff over here, I can work with. Maybe it's not within your strengths.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe it's not something that you're really focused on. There's a reason why this area is here and the other areas are here. I want this person then to say, invest all your time in growing this thing, because I know the impact this thing is.
Yeah.
I'll figure out how to either grow, develop you, or build people around you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like at a moment of leadership, and I'm not a perfect leader.
Right.
But I pursue excellence, right? And so my thought is, man, if I can just invest more, how can I make that person, that team member's job a little bit easier? Because they may be having a lot of fun doing this, or this may just be something that they're strong at. I don't want them wasting a lot of time on these tedious things right here that I can give to somebody else.
These
right?
what things?
Tedious.
Oh, I thought you said titty things.
Yeah,
my
titty
bad.
things.
There's an HR.
HR.
They're literally right over here in the hallway.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny with this show, because as we're doing the show, HR people walk past us constantly.
All the time.
I'm sweating over here.
Yeah. Get nervous. We always walk out of the room wondering if we're going to have to go straight to the HR room or not.
It's all good. We have a good time on here.
It's not the perfect podcast. It's perfect-ish.
It's a perfect-ish culture. Yeah. It's a perfect-ish podcast. We need to change the name of it to perfect-ish.
Yeah. Championist.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this has been a good conversation the last couple of weeks. I think it's really important to prioritize this and to look at, the ideas around like how do we keep improving? Yeah. How do we keep improving?
That's good.
But in doing so, also, how do we become better human beings along the way?
Yeah.
Because that's really what it comes down to, is like the best cultures have the best people. Not perfect. The best cultures have the best people because those people are being the best at being human.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Empathetic, caring, willing to go the extra mile when the call comes. All the stuff that makes us human. Those are the things that at the end of the day, like if you look at leaders throughout your life and you say, who's a leader that really stands out to me throughout my life? It's people that just showed up.
Right.
We've talked about that before. It's not, they didn't have all the skills you'd want.
Yeah.
Those are leaders we're impressed by. The leaders we most appreciate are those that are the most human. And I think that says a lot.
Right.
About who we are and what we long for. And so good topic. Do we know what we're talking about next week?
Shh.
Oh, okay. It's called Shh.
Get real. Shh. It's real.
It gets real.
When shh, it's real. Yeah. How does that go? Yeah, we got something special. It's a secret.
Yeah. We'll rock it.
Shh gets real.
Yeah. We'll let everybody know.
Stuff gets real.
So we good?
We good. You
all
good?
Right, man. I'm good.
I'm good.
Y'all good?
Appreciate everybody out there watching us today on Champion Your Culture, the podcast. Until next time, we appreciate you, Ryan McCarty, George Rogers.
We'll see
Continue
you.
to bring your soul to work.
Yep. And we'll see you back next week on Champion Your Culture.
Thank you for tuning in to Champion Your Culture. We hope today's episode has sparked new ideas and inspiration for your journey in leadership and cultural development.
Building a culture good is a collective effort. If you found value in conversations today, please subscribe to our podcast. Follow us on your favorite platform and share this episode with your friends and colleagues.
Your support helps us reach more people and spread the message of impactful leadership and positive cultural change. Don't forget to visit cultureofgood.com to explore how you can become a certified culture champion.
Every week, we're here to bring you insights and strategies that matter. So join us again for more empowering discussions. Let's continue to champion a culture of purpose and passion together.
Until next time, keep leading with heart and let's make a positive difference in the world. And we'll see you next week on Champion Your Culture.